Today, let's look at common mistakes that web designers make that could affect the user's experience. You know, you've only got about 15 seconds to take a website visitor from intention to action. So don't ruin things with any of these mistakes. Hey, my name is Lee Mathew Jackson. I'm the host of the Trailblazer FM podcast, and I'm proud to be a Cloudways maverick. Today, we're going to unpack 6 mistakes web designers make that could cost leads, and we're going to work out how to avoid them. First, to illustrate these mistakes, let me introduce to you Bob. Bob is an amazingly talented designer. These are the 6 mistakes that Bob makes and the effects these mistakes have. Number 1 is an over-designed website. Something that looks gorgeous and is as beautiful as the Sistine Chapel. However, this actually might be quite distracting. Beautiful design does not necessarily mean a functional website that's easy to use. Number 2 is to fill the website with lots of words, because words are important, and yet that's not necessarily the case. Too many words will be overwhelming to a website visitor, and it might actually be harder for them to find what it is they need. Number 3 is the application of fancy animations. Whilst these may look good and make something look a little bit more expensive, they can actually be very frustrating for the end user who's trying to find information they need, and they have to scroll to make something appear automatically, or they have to hover over something just to get access to the information they need. Number 4 is poor color choice, colors that haven't been tested to ensure that people with different visual impairments will be able to see them. Number 5 is poor use of typography. Maybe too many fonts, or maybe a font that's not necessarily readable. We don't want to give the end user a difficult time in reading the content. We want to select something that is simple and easy for them to read. And number 6 is treating the responsive element as an afterthought at the end of the project. If a website doesn't work, you're going to have a client who's frustrated on their smartphone trying to purchase something or trying to fill in a form, and they find they can't because you didn't spot the issues on those devices. We actually have a whole video on this. There'll be a link in the description, and you can find the tools that will help you make sure your website is super responsive and working on all devices. Now, I don't want to be too hard on Bob for these mistakes, because quite frankly, these are things that often clients will insist on. They'll insist that their website pops, that there are animations. They'll insist on specific colors. They might insist on specific fonts. So it's not always the fault of Bob. Bob is trying to look after his clients and keep them happy, and yet these mistakes could be costing those leads. Therefore, let's take a look at each one of these mistakes, how you can rectify that, and thus how you can position that to the client if they are asking for such a change to their site. Number 1 was a over-designed website. I'd encourage you to focus on function rather than form. We don't want to force people to interact with multiple clicks. There's a rule that's as old as the internet, which is to not make a website visitor have to click more than twice, I think it was, to get to the information they need or to make the action they want to make. Therefore, the design should get out of the way and allow you to focus on those functional elements. Number 2 was to fill the website with too many words. It's really important to get to the point. You can do this through good headlines that will attract the eye of the website visitor. Those headlines should speak to their problems or to their aspirations. Good, concise, effective copy is far more important than quantity. Number 3 was applying fancy animations to everything. It's really tempting, isn't it, to have all of your headlines fade in and then the text fade in a little later and have your button move as you hover over it. It all looks great, and yet it can cause frustration to the end user. They have to wait for information to appear, and they're certainly not expecting the button to start waggling when you put your mouse over it. There is something to be said for basic animations that give you that sort of haptic feedback when you've clicked on something or when you're hovering on something. I get that, but it should be used at a minimal level. You don't want to make people wait to see information. You don't want to make people have to hover over something to expose further information that they need to read. All of these fancy animations can be just too much, and they tend to be a way of trying to make a website look expensive or trying to fit more words into places, therefore hiding them behind specific animations and making them appear. It can just get so confusing and so overwhelming. So I'd say use animations sparingly, only when they serve some form of purpose. Number 4 was poor color choice. Sure, a company has a brand and you do need to honor that, but at the same time, you do need to make sure that people will be able to see the content. There are a wide range of visual impairments, and certain colors on certain colors are just not visible. There's a link in the description below to a service that will allow you to test your color palette and see if a broad spectrum of people will be able to view the information. Number 5 was poor typography choices. Let me hit you with some basic typography principles. First, choose readable fonts. Secondly, don't mix tons of different fonts together. Be as simple as you can. Also, ensure that the font is a readable size and you've got no CSS that would stop somebody from being able to increase that size for them to read it better. And finally, check the line, letter, and word spacing to ensure that text is clean, crisp, and easy to read. Just like you would in a printed brochure, you want to make sure that your text is as accessible and as readable as possible. Number 6 was to treat responsive development as an afterthought. As I said earlier, I've done a whole video on this, which you can check out there, somewhere on screen, and there will be a link down below. So folks, have you made any of these mistakes? What other mistakes have you seen web designers make on websites? Let us know in the comments below. Do of course be kind, you know, we don't know the backstory, but it's helpful to know what has been done, what we should avoid, and how we can improve our web design. Whilst you're there, why not hit the subscribe button, give us a like, hit the bell notification icon, check out the link in the description for our agency resource pack, which will help you build your agency on a solid foundation. And finally, if we don't see you in the comments, why don't we see you in the next episode?